Well, hello and welcome to Wildcat Week as we bring you the best of Indiana Wesleyan University sports highlights and updates. Well, I'm Roger Alcock. To get things started today, we welcome or talk a little bit about women's softball, who's won 8 of the first 9 games, and we welcome the head coach of the Wildcats, Steve Babinski, in to talk about their season. But before we talk about this year, it's been a while since you've been here, so I thought maybe we just put a real quick wrap on last year because it was in many senses an epic year.
Yeah.
48 and 18. You made it to the NAIA National Tournament and went farther in that tournament any team's ever gone. So that was a great way to maybe set up this year.
Absolutely. We getting hot at the right time with the right pieces, and what's really neat is we got a lot of those pieces back and refueled the cupboards. So I feel like we're set to make another deep run.
Now, on the strength of last year, the first or the initial preseason poll, you're receiving votes in the NAIA National poll. Now you started the season out strong. You're 8-1, and your one loss was a 1-run game that you'd like to have back. So it's been a strong start to the season.
Absolutely. What's exciting is team chemistry and production hit the ground running. Normally, you expect northern teams to start slow because we don't get an opportunity to play outside a whole lot. And where we've had setbacks, we've been able to overcome them. Averaging over 8 runs a game, scoring offense, that helps our pitchers out a ton. And our team ERA right now is sitting right at about a 2.
Yeah.
So we'll win a lot of ball games with that ratio. But big part of it is just getting these early games in, figuring out who our identity is on the field, win or loss, and then getting ready for the Crossroads League.
Well, you mentioned when I took a look at the scores, you're scoring a ton of runs, and that does have to take pressure off the pitching staff, I would imagine. And a great example of that, just the other night, last night against Rochester up in Michigan, it's got to be a school record, 9 home runs in one doubleheader in one day. That's just amazing production.
It really is. 9 home runs, we don't expect that, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
9 home runs from 5 different players, but we're not just a home run team.
Right.
We lead we lead the Crossroads League in stolen bases typically every year, and defense. So it's really neat when we can hit the ball for runs, but often we have to manufacture with our foot speed and craftily taking extra bases.
Well, if you break up your season into little segments, you've had these first 9 games, but then just in a week or so, you're going to head on the road for your spring break trip. You head down to West Virginia, then on to Florida. But that's certainly an important time because you're still refining things, aren't you?
Absolutely, and those can be trickier because we go down south and often we'll play southern teams who have been outside since, the fall.
Yeah.
So we have to be a little bit more crisp. They're already mid-season form and we're not there yet. But those games, and then we come back here to Marion to host a couple non-conference right before the crosstown rivals, Taylor, coming to town for the first real game of the season.
Yeah, they open up your league, the Crossroads League portion of your schedule, and you guys finished second in the conference last year. You'd love to make a run at a championship, I'm sure, but the competition is certainly out there. It's good. It's going to be a great season in the Crossroads League.
Absolutely. Number one in our league is Marion, who sits preseason ranked 7th in the nation, and they didn't lose anyone. We played them on senior day, and there was not a ribbon, not a flyer, not a poster board because they had 0 seniors.
Yeah.
So they returned their entire squad, and they've got the target on their back, and we're excited to start shooting at it.
And what about starting the league portion of your schedule against Taylor? I don't think it'd be hard to get up for your conference opener, but it doesn't hurt that it's against your cross-county rivals.
That's right. And I don't know what people think of this next statement, but we really enjoy Taylor. A lot of the same girls that that I recruit almost went to Taylor, and a lot of the same kids that went to Taylor almost came to us. So there's a lot of joy when we play each other, but the rivalry is school to school. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the game, we circle up, we pray, and we want what's best, and we want souls saved in Grant County. Both teams do. So we're excited to play them, and it's just fun to be able to play right out of the chute against them.
Well, Coach, thanks for stopping by. I'm sure we'll talk some more softball as the season goes, and hope you guys have a great trip down south.
Thanks, Raj.
All right. Well, when we come back, the Lady Wildcats lost in the tournament opener against Huntington University in women's basketball. The head coach, Chet Foraker, will stop by to talk about the Lady Wildcats and wrapping up their season, so don't go away. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. The Lady Wildcats battled against the Foresters of Huntington University on Tuesday, February the 21st in the Crossroads League quarterfinals. The Lady Wildcats could not find their shot and could not stop the Foresters on a frustrating night in Lucky Arena, where Huntington upset the Wildcats by a score of 79-59, and they advanced to the Crossroads League semifinals on Friday. Leading the way for the Wildcats was junior Brittany Washington. She scored 16 points, pulled down 6 rebounds. Kelsey Key scored 10 points, dished out 3 assists, and in the first minutes of the game, Kelsey scored her 1,000th point of her career, 1,000 points in just 3 years. Well, before the loss to the Foresters, the Wildcats traveled to Spring Arbor to face off against the Cougars. The Lady Wildcats their starter scored 61 and 62 points on the night. The lone point from the bench came from Katie Key. She hit a free throw. The Wildcats blocked 12 shots on that night, which was one shy of the program record. Kelsey Key led the Wildcats to a big win on the road at Spring Arbor. And with that victory, they finished the regular season. The Wildcats won by a score of 62-56. As we said, senior Kelsey Key led the team with 26 points. She was 6 of 11 from the three-point line. Sophomore Nicole Ignashik scored 12 points, grabbed 8 rebounds in the win, and the Lady Wildcats finished the regular season with a record of 18-13, 11-7 in the Crossroads League. Well, after that loss in the first round of the Crossroads League tournament, the Lady Wildcats finished their regular season. Head coach Foraker is here to talk about that. And Coach, we wanted to wrap up that regular season. A great win at Spring Arbor, where not an easy place to play, a good team, and Kelsey was huge in that ball game. Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about that win really quick. But that really was a huge win.
It was a very big win. I mean, especially after, kind of giving the game away against Mount Vernon, we needed to go up there and play well, and we did. And it is a hard place to play. And they have good players, good shooters, and they played well, but we just played better.
Yeah.
So we played a good game up there.
Coming out of that game, Wildcats the 3rd seed in the Crossroads League tournament. Normally you'd say, okay, a 3rd seed against a 6th seed should be a significant advantage, but we know that Huntington and the Indiana Wesleyan, whenever they play, it's just a barn burner every single time. So I think we knew coming into the ball game this was going to be a tough ball game. Yeah,
I mean, you look at the 2 games we had, we had 4 overtimes, and we won by 8 or something like that, and then we lost by 1 over at their place. So coming here, you're going to have a good game. Yeah. And they've got a good team. And they're well coached and all that. So, but I mean, never did we expect that they would hit 58%. Yeah. I mean, that includes their 3-point shots. Yeah. I mean, they were just unbelievable.
They were outstanding on the night. In the first half here early, you guys got a boost, I thought, from Haley Woodruff, coming back off that injury. And I'll be honest, I did not know what to expect from her, being off 5-6 weeks. Right. And I thought she played really well coming off that injury, especially early.
Well, she carried us early on. And, the reason she played well, she worked so hard while she was off with her injury. I mean, every night at practice, I mean, she was able to shoot because it was her left hand, and so she could keep practicing her shooting. She shot the ball all the time. She worked out. She did agility drills. She did conditioning drills. She did all of that. That's why she was able to do that. So that's to her credit that she was able to do that. But she played a great game. She really did.
Well, that was the story of the night, though, right there with Miranda Palmer. I mean, you played pretty decent defense, but she has perfected that step back shot, and it's so hard to defend. And they got hot, and I kept waiting for them to cool off a little bit. They never did.
They never did. In fact, at halftime, I said to the girls, you know, they are over their numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, they are shooting over their numbers, their average for their 29 games. And I said, you know, that's going to cool off so we can, you know, we're going to have a chance to come back. Well, it didn't cool off.
Yeah.
It never did.
Well, in fact, in some respects in the second half from three-point range, they got hotter.
Yeah.
You know, I thought Kelsey battled all night long. That was a tough basket there.
Yeah.
But as good as their offense was, that's as good as I've seen Huntington play defense maybe ever. They were really into the game defensively as well.
Yeah, that's as good as I've seen them play on film or the times we played them. They played a great game, and I congratulate them on that. And they just shot the eyes out of it, and it was tough to keep up.
You know, I thought there was a big shot that Kelsey hit right before halftime because, you know, she hits that big three, gives you a little momentum, and like you said, okay, second half, there's no way they're going to shoot like that. But they came out guns a-blazing, didn't they?
They really did. They really did. I don't know, and I've had some other people tell me they've never seen a Huntington women's team play like that, play that well.
I mean, they definitely have the skill. They, as you said, they're well coached. The thing that impressed me really also was their bench play. I thought they got a lot of points from players that maybe we weren't anticipating to score for them.
Yeah, they sure did. Well, Palmer just had a great night, and she does a great job of starting her drive and backing off that and hitting that three-pointer.
You know, for all the things in this night that you could say, boy, I wish would have been different or went wrong, as you see the final score there, I thought your ladies never gave up. They battled the entire time, and I thought they showed their character in that game.
Absolutely, they did. And you know, the other thing that is people, we've forgotten a lot about the fact Chelsea Winter wasn't there. I mean, you know, we lost. On an average, we lost our conference games by 3 points, and most of those games we didn't have Haley or Chelsea. And all of those games, some of them we didn't have either. And in other ones we didn't have one or the other. Well, that is tough to overcome.
Well, and of course, going into the season, those Kelsey, Chelsea, and Haley, those are the three seniors we're really going to have to rely on all season long. And they've had unbelievable careers. But having those injuries was, you know, I think, like you said, team battled, but how many games by under 5 points?
I mean, any reasonable line of thinking would tell you that if you have one senior starter and sometimes two senior starters out, that would make up for that 3 points. But that's the way it is, you know. That's the game. That's the way it is. Those, as I've said before, those aren't excuses, but they are very good reasons.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you stopping by, and it's been our privilege to call Lady Wildcat basketball this season, and there's a little more basketball yet to come. We don't have all the details yet, but the ladies will be playing in the NCCAA Christian College Tournament, and best of luck in that tournament.
Thank you very much. We'll find out Sunday who we play, and then we have to win a couple regional games, and then hopefully we'll be in Winona Lake at Grace College for the finals.
That'll be awesome. Well, when we come back, the guys on the Wildcats men's basketball team came away with a very close wins this last couple of weeks, and head coach Greg Tonagel is going to join me to break down some big wins for the Wildcats when we come back. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. The men's basketball team welcomed the Foresters of Huntington University into Lucky Arena for the first round of the Crossroads League tournament For the third time this season, the Foresters provided a tough test for the Wildcats. It was a back-and-forth game, and it needed overtime to settle the score. The Wildcats pulled away in overtime and won the game by a final score of 109-100. Senior Lane Mahiran stuffed the stat sheet with 30 points and 8 rebounds, and get a load of this, 9 assists for Lane Mahiran. Junior Jacob Johnson also scored 22 points in the win. Now, before the Crossroads League tournament, the Wildcats traveled up to Spring Arbor, Michigan, to take on the Cougars in the final regular season contest of the year. Spring Arbor took the lead at 71-69 with a pair of free throws with 39 seconds left on the clock, but then Lane Mahiran completed an old-fashioned three-point play, put the Wildcats on top 72-71 with 30 seconds remaining, and after a missed three-pointer, Grant Evans grabbed the rebound and hit one of 2 free throws, put the Wildcats ahead 73-71. The Cougars missed 2 shots within the last 7 seconds to give the Wildcats the victory at 73-71. Senior Lane Mahiran recorded a double-double and finished with 28 points to go along with 11 rebounds. Fellow senior Bob Peters also scored 16 points, and he dished out 3 assists in the win. Well, after a couple close wins, I'm joined by the head coach of the Wildcats, Greg Tonagel, and I'm scratching my head, Coach, because they were close. Let's put a real quick wrap on the game at Spring Arbor. The final regular season contest, very difficult place to play against a team in Spring Arbor that can beat anybody. We know that. In fact, I think they upset Taylor last night in the first round of the conference tournament. So to get out of there with the win, pretty happy to get in the bus and head out of there, weren't you?
Yeah, well, we tend to make things interesting, and we certainly did that. But a road win, as you said, at Spring Arbor is a big win, especially they were still playing for some seeding. You know, we had locked our seeding in, but it was somewhat of a come-from-behind win. You know, 5 minutes to go, we're trailing by a couple scores, and then to get a big score from Lane and then a stop to finish the game, pretty happy with that.
Well, so that sets up the first round of the league tournament, and you draw Huntington, a team that beat fairly handily at home with a big second half, but that was way back in December. They got you at their place about a month or so ago. So, they're a team that's dangerous because they can put up points.
They can really score it, and they came out scoring the basketball. I thought we were on our heels. I didn't like our mentality defensively, and we stayed with it. We were able to put together enough scores to where, the lead could have been worse. I mean, we were down 9 at half, but it felt like it was at least double digits.
Well, in this first half, as we're taking a look at the highlights, Huntington shot 61% from the field, but we saw Mike Bush with the drive and the layup, and that Coverstone there with the layup. They really weren't hurting you from the outside. It was layups and offensive putbacks.
Yeah, I mean they were controlling the paint down there, and I think they were 20 for 26 from 2 at halftime, which is pretty awful on our part.
And a lot of that was Mike Bush, their guard. He leads the nation in assists, but I mean he was really a problem for you guys in that first half. But like you said, you kind of stuck with it, and Sekou hit a tough shot. There was Jacob Johnson working his way inside, but in this first half, shots like that, I mean, they were critical just because, like you said, this could have been worse.
Yeah. We made timely plays. But what we talked about was our defense then affected our offense. We started to take quick shots. We weren't moving the ball. And you can't play bad on both ends, right? I mean, you might be bad on one end, but you better make it up on the other, and I didn't feel like we did that in the first half.
Jacob Johnson, boy, he's a tough matchup for any other team because he's physical inside, or he can step out and shoot. And Bob Peters, kind of a quiet night for Bob, but again, the steal and the layup there, but we went back to that. Not to harp on it, but that was the story of the first half right there.
Bush is a great player, and he makes a lot of great plays, and he's quick, and we did not stay in front of him in that first half at all. And I was not pleased with our ability to do that. So the second half was about changing that, and here you see the guy that changed it. It was Joel Okafor.
Joel only scored 4 points in this ball game, all 4 coming in the second half, but I got to wonder, and I don't know if there's a way to calculate it, but how many points did he keep them from scoring with
Yeah,
his
oh.
defense. Just
He was the MVP of the game. He
Yeah.
scored 4 points. You know, Lane Mahern had a dominant, almost
Yeah.
triple-double performance. But it was Joel that came in with that energy that just ignited and sparked everybody.
well, the thing with him defensively, and Trevor Waite coming off the bench hit a big shot. Your bench was huge, but this was right in the middle of a 10-0 run. One of the very few times they actually got the ball in the paint. Joel kept the ball out of the paint, I thought.
Yeah, Joel did a tremendous job, and he did it without fouling. He walled up, he provided some resistance, and you know, that point guard position is the most important position on the floor. And we've got 3 guys, and we kind of do it by committee, and it was Joel's turn to do it.
There were times in this game where Lane though showed why he's maybe the conference player of the year, why he's an All-American. I mean, just a dominating performance.
Yeah.
He scored, but he distributed the basketball, and he showed a little bit of fire there too.
Love it, man. He was pumped up, fired up, and he just carried us offensively, which he's done all year long. And you know what? He can do it in so many ways. He can do it inside. He can do it out. He passed it. He had 9 assists. I mean, man, what else could he have done last night?
Well, then the big defensive play there with the block. And, you know, what was key is you had that 10-0 run, tied it up, actually got up by 7. They came back, though. They didn't give up. And that was just a crazy tough shot that Bush hits to put this game to overtime.
Yeah, we didn't do a great job executing. We take not a great shot, and then we give them a transition bucket. But you got to credit our guys for going into overtime now with the renewed mentality that, all right, 0-0, let's play. And we scored 21 points in this overtime.
Yeah. And I think you scored 12 of the first 14 points and put them on their heels. What a take there by Jacob Johnson. I'm not sure how that ball went down, but he gets the foul as well. And like you said, in overtime, really, took control of the basketball game.
Yeah, it was good to see our guys. Once again, they score, the momentum shifts, and overtime's about momentum.
Yeah.
And we took it right back just by coming to play off that tip. And I think the last overtime game, well, it was the double overtime versus St. Francis. We've had 3 this year, I believe. I can't think of the third one right now, but those are good experiences. You can play off of those when you get into the national tournament because you've been in tight games, you've been in those situations before.
Well, up next, Coach, last question. St. Francis, it's a battle of the 2nd and 3rd seeds. You have the home court advantage. I think home court could be big in this one. And obviously, St. Francis, a very talented team.
Yeah, and they're playing well. I think they've won 6 of 7 right now. And, both of our games have been extremely competitive. And we are playing them for the 7th time in the past year and a half.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a lot of games.
Yeah.
So we know each other. They know us. Very familiar with each other. You just got to go out there and play. I don't think you can overcoach this game.
All right. Well, Coach, as we said, the next game for the Wildcats will be here Saturday, February 25th, in Lucky Arena as the St. Francis Cougars come to town to take on the Wildcats the 3rd time this season, and as we said, the 7th time in just the last year and a half. Well, the game will start at 3 p.m. and will be aired right here on WIW-TV and on ESPN3. You can watch that game on your mobile device or a smart TV with the Watch ESPN app. Well, that is all we have for you this week. If you'd like to see more Wildcat Week, you can visit our website, WIWTV.com. There you can watch past episodes and connect with us online. Again, it's WIWTV.com. Well, we look forward to being back with you next week. So for all of us here, thanks for watching Wildcat Week.